Good morning, dear children. Teacher is going to continue the next part. That is, we are going into the last part of our lesson through the elementary canal. So, what did we learn in the previous class? Yes, we learned the way through which idli goes, isn't it? That is through the alimentary canal. We found how the food from the mouth reaches the stomach, and there it is digested and absorption is taking place, then assimilation is taking place, and then finally excretion is coming out through the rectum and the anus. So I hope that portion is very clear for you. So we clearly found out the way the food particles goes into the body and it comes out, the waste comes out after absorbing the needed nutrients. So which are the different process, that is the stages in the process of nutrition? Can we say that once again? Here we will see it once more. The first process is ingestion. After that we have digestion, then we have absorption, then assimilation, and finally we have excretion. So these are the 5 stages of nutrition that happens inside our body. Now look at the next illustration which is given inside here in your textbook. There you can see a flow chart, isn't it? The center is the blood. Then what are the different things you can see there? Oxygen from the lungs goes into the blood. Carbon dioxide from the cells goes into the blood. Then urea from the liver goes into the blood. And nutrients from the small intestine also goes into the blood. So what are the things which are going into the blood? Yes, oxygen goes, carbon dioxide goes, then urea goes, and the nutrients from the small intestine also mixes up into the bloodstream, isn't it? Now out of this, which are the things which are needed for our body? Which are the things that are needed for our body? Can you tell me? Yes, we need oxygen, isn't it? Oxygen which is needed for our body, for the respiration and all the other activities. We need oxygen that is there in the bloodstream. Then carbon dioxide is there in the bloodstream, urea is there in the bloodstream, and all the other nutrients are there in the bloodstream. Now from these we need only certain things. Which are the things that we need? Yes, we need oxygen, isn't it? But for the proper functioning of our body, and we also need the nutrients for our proper functioning of the body. Which are the things which we don't need for our body? Yes, we don't need urea and we don't need carbon dioxide. That has to be expelled out of our body, isn't it? How is that carbon dioxide expelled? So we know all these things reach inside the blood. From the blood, it is expelled. So how is the carbon dioxide expelled out? Yes, we know through respiration, the carbon dioxide which is in our body, we take in the oxygen, and the carbon dioxide which is there inside the bloodstream is purified in the heart, and then it is expelled out. In the lungs, it is respiration takes place, and in the lungs the carbon dioxide which is in the blood that is expelled out through the respiratory system, isn't it? Now we can see that there are some unwanted elements, which are that urea. Yes, urea is the unwanted element that is there inside the bloodstream. So that the urea that reaches the blood, it is not necessary for the body. So that has to be expelled. So what is expelled through respiration? Only carbon dioxide is expelled through respiration. Now how is this urea expelled through from our body? Uric acid, or you must have heard about uric acid, urea, and all these things. That is not needed for our body. So how is it expelled from our body? Yes, here you can see an organ which is there in our body. You must have heard about that organ, isn't it? The kidney. The kidney does this process of expelling the unwanted urea in the bloodstream. So what is the function of the kidney? How many kidneys do we have? You can see in this video. We have 2 kidneys. Where is the kidney situated? Yes, the kidney is situated in the below the abdomen, in the lower, below the rib cage, there is a hip bone, isn't it? Inside that place, the kidney is situated. So we have 2 kidneys. It is in a bean shape. Here you can see the shape of the kidney is bean shape. Now into the kidney, you can see there two things are coming into the kidney, isn't it? What is it? That is, one red color is blood vessel is coming, and a blue color blood vessel is coming. Which is the red color blood vessel? Yes, that is the artery, and the other one is the vein. So what does the artery do? The artery brings the blood which contains urea, water and nutrients in large quantity. Okay, what does the artery do? We know the arteries and veins are connected to the whole body, the circulatory system. Okay, so the arteries and the veins, arteries take the dirty blood into the heart, and the heart purifies it and gives out the good blood through the veins to the different parts of the body. Here also what happens? The arteries bring the blood which contains more amount of urea, water and nutrients into the kidney. And what does the kidney do here? You can see the kidney will purify that blood which contains more amount of urea, and it will purify the blood, and the blood which contains less amount of urea and other nutrients are sent back through the veins. So the arteries bring the blood which contains more amount of urea, and the veins take out the purified blood to the other parts of the body. Now what happens to the urea which is purified, which has come through the arteries? It is purified. Now what happens to the urea? The urea and the excessive water is pushed into the ureter. What is it? Ureter. In the kidney here, you can see that from the kidney a tube is coming down, isn't it? You can see a tube coming down. That is called as the ureter. That is called as the ureter. Now the ureter goes and connects to the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder. So you have a urinary bladder which has an opening down, and then we have two tubes, that is the ureter. So the kidney, the artery which brings the blood which contains more amount of urea is pushed into the kidney. The kidney purifies it and sends back the purified blood through the veins, and the remaining urea and the salts and the water which is not needed for the body is pushed through the ureter and reaches the urinary bladder, where it is collected and kept. And when the urinary bladder fills up, it passes out of our body in the form of urine. We know we go to pass urine, isn't it? So what is urine? Urine is the unwanted urea. Urine contains unwanted urea, water and the different salts which are not needed for our body. It is pushed out through the urinary bladder. So here you can see the diagram of the kidney. You have to draw this diagram. So there you can see two kidneys are there. Red one is the artery. The next one is the vein. Then you have a ureter, and then down you have a urinary bladder. So I hope this is very clear for you. So kidney is the main excretory organ of our body. What is kidney? Kidney is the main excretory organ of our body. So what does the kidney do? The excess urea, salt and water in the blood are filtered and expelled in the form of urine. So in order to facilitate this process, cleaning has to go on in the kidney, isn't it? So to make this process easier, what must we do? We must drink a lot of water. That is why we are asked to drink 1.5 liters of water a day, and big people are asked to drink 3 liters of water a day. We say, isn't it, 1 bottle or 8 glasses of water we have to drink in a day, because the kidney has to function. Only if there is water content in the blood, the kidney will be able to function. Otherwise, we have seen nowadays people are getting kidney diseases, isn't it? Kidney is getting failed. Why is that so? Because in our early ages, we are not drinking enough of water. If there is no enough of water in our body, it is difficult for the kidney to function. So the kidney has to exert more when there is less amount of water to clean the blood. So what happens? The kidney gets failed very fast. So we have two kidneys. We all know that even if there is one kidney, we can live. Okay, only when the two kidneys are spoiled, we have to undergo a kidney transplant operation and all those things we have heard. So kidney is the most important excretory organ in our body, which helps us to expel or put out the urea, salt and water which is not needed from our body. Now, can you tell me any other organ which helps in this excretion? Is it only through the kidney, the urinary bladder, or only through that we pass out water from our body? No, we know, isn't it? In a hot day, if you go outside itself, we can feel from our skin, water comes out. What is it called as? Yes, sweat, isn't it? So we sweat. So which is another excretory, which is another organ which helps in excretion? The skin, isn't it? We know skin is the outermost covering of our body. It helps us to cover all the muscles and bones, and everything is covered by the skin. But the skin also has a very important role. What is that important role? The skin also helps us to expel the unwanted water from our body, and that is called as sweat. When it comes through the urinary bladder, the water and the urea which is not needed, which when comes out to the urinary bladder, that is called as urine, and the water which is not needed by our body along with the different salts, it comes out through the skin, that is called as sweat. So here you can see the cross section of the skin. So in the skin we know we have hair follicles, isn't it? The hair comes out through the skin, we know. Along with the hair follicles, there are small, minute pores inside our skin. Pores means what? Small, very small openings which are very difficult for our eyes to see are there in the skin. They are called as the sweat pores, and through this minute pores, water comes out. Water which is not needed by our body comes out. Water and the salt which is not needed for our body comes out from our body as sweat. So there are sweat glands also inside the body. The sweat and the other waste are expelled through the minute pores of the skin. They accumulate in the skin. Hence the skin has to be clean. So what happens? They come and stand here. In a very hot day when you sweat. We know the sweat, isn't it? From my face and all that. If you run for a long time or if you stand in the sun for a long time, we know we keep sweating. And that sweat has got a salty taste. So we know with the salt which is not needed for our body also comes out along with the sweat. So there is sweat gland in our body. So sweat is produced by the sweat glands. In the cross section of the skin you can see there are sweat glands down. So how is the sweat produced? Sweat is produced by the sweat glands in our skin. So the excessive water and the salt in our body are eliminated through sweat. Now sweating helps us to regulate and and minimize our body temperature. So when we said, if you have fever, when do you know that the fever is gone? We start sweating, isn't it? So the sweating of the body's sweat, or the sweating of our body, helps to regulate the body temperature. We know the body needs to have a particular temperature. So that body temperature is kept normal by this process of sweating. Okay. So the condition of excessive loss of water. Now we know sometimes we sweat lots. We go for a running race, or we do some exercise, or we do some household work which needs lot of energy. That time we sweat lots, isn't it? When we sweat lots, we know lot of water goes from our body. So what happens? We know that the body is made up of 75% of our body is made up of water. So when you sweat lots, lot of water content is expelled from our body. So when lot of water content is expelled from our body, the content of water in our body lessens. That situation is called as dehydration. What is it called as? Dehydration. So we know when we go for a running race or when we do some exercise, we need to drink lot of water so that our body does not get dehydrated. Or sometimes when you have different sickness or fever, we know our body gets dehydrated when lot of water goes out from our body. So our body not to get dehydrated, what should we do? we should drink lot of water. Okay, so when lot of water is lost from our body, so excessive loss of water from our body is called as dehydration. So here we saw two organs which helps in excretion. Which is the major organ which helps in excretion? The kidney, isn't it? So the function of the kidney we learned here. What is the function of the kidney? The kidney takes in the blood which contains more of urea and water and other salts and purifies it and sends out the purified blood into the bloodstream, and the remaining urea, salt and water is expelled through the ureter into the urinary bladder, and it comes out as urine. Then another one what we saw was the skin. The skin is also an excretory, also has the function of excretion through sweat. So there are sweat glands in the body which produces sweat. The sweat contains water and the different unwanted salts which are there in the body. So these two organs helps in excretion of the unwanted nutrients which are there inside our body. Now next we will go on to plants. As in the animals also, other animals also we know, dogs and all you have seen passing urine, isn't it? So they also have this excretion process. But in plants, in the plants also there is lot of waste. Okay, now look at this tree here. Here you can see in the tree the wax or a lac type of thing is coming out, isn't it? So that is one type of excretion of the plants. So the waste materials of the plants, what happens? It is stored in the bark, which later gets detached. Waste materials are expelled as exudates from them. So in the plants also, in the trees also, we have seen sometimes like this gum-like thing coming out, lac we call, isn't it? So all these are excretion produced by the plants. So what do the trees do? They collect in the barks of the trees and then it comes out and it falls down. So that is called as exudates. So the excretion in the trees with the material which is expelled is called as exudates. So now in this whole lesson we have been discussing about the food which is taken into the body, how it is utilized and how it is eliminated, isn't it? So for the proper growth of our body we need to have good food habits, and we have to drink lot of water for the smooth functioning of all the organs in the digestive system and also in the excretory organs like the kidney and the sting. So how should we take food? We should take food in sufficient quantity. So excess food intake and insufficient food intake, excluding vegetables and leafy vegetables from fruit, etc., also may cause several health problems. So what are we to do? When we eat food, neither we should eat lots, neither we should eat less. We should eat in the correct balanced diet, and all the type of food should be included in our food what we take, because it helps in the different digestive process of our body and also the excretory process of our body. So here through the digestive system, when we came, we understood how our food is important, what type of food we should eat, how much of water we should drink, all that is needed for the proper functioning of all the organs in our body. I hope this lesson is very clear for you. With this we come to the end of this lesson. Thank you, children.